Like a night out in Sheffield, like a great St. Body, I'm Sheffield United, come thrill me again.
Hello and welcome back to Season 2 of Blades of Glory. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you for everyone's support, whether that be liking or commenting or subscribing or just watching the videos on YouTube. I'm really pleased with that, and on Twitter as well. If you're following me and have retweeted or liked any of my tweets, thank you for that. And the Discord group as well, FM Creators. If you're not in it, please join it. It's a really great group. There's lots of great guys in there offering their support. So it's been a great first 2 weeks for me, better than I could have imagined. I've really been enjoying it. But now let's actually get into the video. And first I'm going to show you a couple of things that I didn't show you last time, which I found quite interesting before we get into the transfers. Here we are then. Let's see the newly promoted and relegated teams. There's Brighton from the Premier League who've come down, Huddersfield, not too surprising either of them, and then Swansea. Maybe that one's a bit surprising. They've actually managed to pick up a few players I was trying to go for in the transfer market, who actually would have been very good for us. So they've sneaked in there and stolen a couple of players off us. In terms of the teams that have come up, Blackburn, that's not really that surprising. MK Dons and Oldham. I don't remember them being in a championship in recent years. I think they've been in League One for ages. Yeah, I remember that. Now they've been in League One for the longest of any team, I think. So they've finally got up. But actually, there's something a bit more interesting I've got to show you. We go on Liverpool. They didn't win the Premier League, which I was a little bit annoyed about because they finished 6th. But they did, as you can see there, win the Champions League final. I could not believe it when I saw that. I just saw they were the highest rated English team in the world rankings or whatever, and I was like, okay, they must have won the league. They didn't win the league. They beat Juventus in the final of the Champions League. But there's more than Liverpool winning the Champions League. If we look at the World Cup, holders are England. I mean, if this happens this year, Liverpool win the Champions League and England win the World Cup in real life, I'll be in dreamland. I'll be in absolute dreamland. They won in the final against Argentina. Let's just have a little look, if we can, see what the lineup was. Kieran Gibbs, man of the match. Maybe that's a little bit surprising. Sterling, Welbeck, Kane, yeah, Harry Maguire, Chalobah coming off the bench. Not many surprises. Joe Gomez getting into the squad. Not too many surprises, but looking at their squad, it's a bit average compared to probably what Argentina's is. But yeah, that I just thought it was quite interesting thing to show you before we move on to the transfers. Okay, so I'll show you the outs first. We got rid of Simon Moore. We hinted at that before. That was a nice rhyme, actually. Didn't mean to do that. Simon Moore out for 400k. We cashed in on him whilst we could, really. He's not going to be first team keeper. He's not really likely to increase in value, so we let go of him to Wolves. Justin Shaibu went on loan to Northampton. Really, this is just a tester to see if he can cut it at the league below us. If he can, then maybe he has a slight chance of getting into the first team, but I feel like it's unlikely, especially given one or two of the players we brought in. Lewis Reed on loan to Bolton, he's kind of similar, but he's just not got great potential. It's really annoying because I thought he would be a really good potential player who could potentially come into the first team this season, but he's just not good enough. Did okay at Chesterfield in League 2, but that's in League 2. So now he's gone on loan to Bolton. If he does well there, then maybe there's half a chance he can get into the team, but it's very unlikely. Sammy Omprion went out on loan as well, and Regan Slater, the good potential young player, went on loan to Luton in League 1 now, actually, I think. So if we have a look at his attributes, he's improving a bit. Maybe he can come into the team next season if he does well at Luton. Looking at the ins then, we're going to start with the least interesting. Although he is quite a good player, Jay Spearing came in on a free from Blackpool, 3.5 star. I kind of thought he's a similar kind of player to John Lundstrom. Defensively, he really is pretty darn good for this division. Pretty much everything you want is good on him. And he's quite a good passer of the ball as well. So he'll basically be a backup or rotation, or he might even overtake John Lundstrom for this season. He's 29 years old. I thought it was just a very, very solid buy for free on only 8.5k per week. Another player we brought in on a free, as it's actually a loan. I suppose it's not really a free, but we didn't pay any money for him apart from his wages, is Cameron Carter-Vickers. He comes back into the team. I'm very pleased with this. He did play quite a lot in the latter end of the season last year. Yeah, 21 appearances in the league. Probably a good 15 of those came in the last maybe 20 games that we played. Very solid central defender. Another loanee we brought in was Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We did actually loan in Dominic Solanke from Liverpool, but then I thought this guy is on the loan list and he used to play for Sheffield United. He was in the Sheffield United academy. He went out on loan to a few teams, went to Everton for 1.5 million, which I guess was quite a lot of money for them when they were in League One. So that's fair enough letting him go. He is pretty good striker. He's going to be in the advanced forward role. He's pretty well rounded in that role, but the thing that sticks out to me is acceleration and pace. He offers something different. He's also reasonably tall as well, about 6'1", 6'2". So I think he could be quite a useful rotation option up there, maybe filling in for Sharp and rotating with the other striker potentially that we have brought in. Now, I'm not going to show you that striker yet. I'm going to show you the centre-back we brought in, the other one, to make our fifth choice, probably centre-back, Jordan Turnbull from Coventry, who actually went on loan to Partick Thistle and did reasonably well last season in the Scottish Premier Division. So, he's a reasonably good centre-back. He's okay at passing, so he can fill in this role or a central defensive role pretty well. The key thing about him is he's a left footer, so he'll really just be a backup for Jack O'Connell. Probably will be playing in the cup games, maybe the odd league game where O'Connell comes across into the stopper role. We'll wait and see on that. He won't be getting that much game time, but he can improve a bit. And I think if worse comes to worse, we should be able to sell him for a decent value as well. He only came in for 300k. The next man to come in was Hugo Vetlesen from Stabæk in, I think, Norway. Yep, in the Norwegian First Division, did pretty well there. That's pretty good performance for 18, or he would have been 17-year-old at that point in time. 300k came in. He's going to be the sort of youth player, the third choice in that deep-lying playmaking role that we have. He looks pretty well-rounded for that position at the moment. Not very good defensively, so he's likely to be playing in the cups where we don't quite need that defensive player. The next man who came in quite cheaply, you might recognise him if you're a Man United fan, Scott McTominay. I believe he came in for 500k. He actually got a couple of appearances for Man United, but he hasn't had any other appearances beside that. He, like Vetlesen, will be our youth sort of player in that ball-winning midfield role. Basically as cover for Spearing and Lundstrom, and he'll probably play in the cups as well. So he's reasonably good in every area, not brilliant at marking, but that doesn't necessarily matter that much. As long as he throws his weight around, he's got good teamwork, good work rate, he's strong, he's a big man, he's a bit like I don't know, a bit like someone like Fellaini or something that we'll have in the midfield. He's not exactly amazing at those things, but he throws his weight around and he gets in the way, and he's got good determination as well. So hopefully he can turn him into a very good player for us. And when Spearing gets too old to play for us, hopefully he'll have developed enough that we can actually have him in the first team, or at least play him with confidence in most of our games. The last player I've got to show you for you is the marquee signing, Zach Clough. We signed him from Nottingham Forest as they got relegated to the Sky Bet League One for 4.5 million. That will rise based on goals scored and I think appearances or maybe instalments. But last season for a relegated team, 19 goals in 30 starts, 10 sub appearances. That is pretty good. 6.92 rating. He did better than Ched Evans for us, and we were mid-table. We finished on a lot more points than they did. And the key thing about him for me is not only that he's a young player and that I've loved him on Football Manager for the last few years. When he played for Bolton, he was a very good cheap signing for pretty much every team in the Championship, lower Premier League teams. Not only that, he is a young player, he can play in this deep line forward role very well. So it seems. He's got above 13 in every single attribute, which is really nice to see, apart from strength, but that doesn't necessarily matter that much. We're just hoping that he can pass well, we're hoping that he can finish if he needs to, be good on the ball basically, not lose the ball for us, but also be able to find players. So I think he can do that job really, really well. And I'm very pleased with this signing. We did spend a lot of our transfer budget, but we do actually still have quite a lot left over. So you'll see all the transfers there. We still have 3.7 million and 100k in wages. I'm not really sure where else we can improve. I'll have a little look at that later. But first I'm just going to show you through the friendlies we played. Here we are at the friendlies then, and it was actually a pretty good pre-season from us. You can't take loads from a good pre-season, I know that, but I actually organised a few games against quite tough teams to see how we'd cope. And Anderlecht, 1-1 draw away from home, that's pretty good. Gelsenkirchen, which is obviously Schalke, I haven't changed the licences or whatever it is. That was not a bad result. I think they only had 1 or 2 shots on goal. Ajax to beat them away from home, that was good. They might have been playing a rotated side. I did leave my assistant manager to this, and this was the big one. We absolutely battered Rennes 5-0. Billy Sharp getting 2 goals. Abu Diaby actually getting a goal. I haven't mentioned it, but we've been trying to flog him. He's not going to play at all this season unless he really has to. Even though he's 3.5-star rated, I just don't think it's worth bothering with him. He gets injured too many times. So that was a brilliant result. And then Everton, this was a testimonial for Phil Jagielka. And if I've seen this a lot before on previous football managers, he did not play. He was not in the squad for Everton, and he wasn't in the squad for us either. So that is a bit of a bug they need to sort out. But that's been on there for a few years now. So obviously they're not that bothered about it. Jagielka actually retired, along with Peter Crouch, who we were thinking about signing, but he retired, so there was no chance of that. But maybe that was a blessing in disguise, because we brought in Cloth, who I think will be brilliant for us. These other ones, apart from Quartic and Standard, which were 2 more I organised, these ones were organised by the assistant. These ones we battered them in. I actually played this one against Standard just to see if I could recreate the assistant manager's form, and we did, and we played really, really well, even with a slightly rotated team. So good signs ahead of this match against Ipswich. Let's get into the tactics, and I'll show you a bit more of sort of what I'm dealing with in terms of the team, and maybe basically just show you the main player we're going to be playing in each role, and then the backups we have for each role. Okay, here we are. Not much has changed on the tactics screen. You'll have noticed not really anything on the team instructions either, but it's been working in pre-season, and it was working at the end of last season, so I thought there's no real need. In goal, we've got Ortola. I mentioned George Long before. He's decent, 2.5-star rated. If he has to come in, he will be able to cope, a bit like Jamal Blackman last season. He was good enough there for us. On the right side of the defence, we're going to have Conso in that ball playing cover role. In the centre, we're going to have Stearman as that stopper. We're going to try him out for now. Carter Vickers is there lurking if we need to bring him in. And then on the left side of the defence, our new vice-captain actually, Jack O'Connell, overtaken from Stearman, as I thought he'll be playing pretty much every game, so we'll make him the vice-captain. And then on the right, we're going to have Bulldog. On the left, we're going to have Ender Stevens. This is the role, the one role, that I think we might actually look to buy a better player in, because they're 3-star rated. Ender Stevens is reasonably good all around, but I think Lafferty's a bit lacking defensively. The same as Freeman on the right, actually. So we might look to bring in a player there, maybe a young player that can come through and replace Stevens, as he's at his prime, but he'll be getting on in 1 or 2 seasons. So hopefully we can get a young player in who can be ready to overtake him when he's a bit past it. On the right side of the midfield, in the ball-winning slot, will be Lundstrom. Spearing's actually suspended for just the next match, so he must have got sent off. That does not surprise me for Blackpool. On the left will be Fleck, who's perfectly suited to the deep line playmaker role. Attacking midfield, David Brooks. We've got Calvert-Lewin, who can actually slot in there, as well as Carruthers, who we had last season. In deep line forward role, as we mentioned before, Zach Clough will be our main man there. And as the advanced forward, we're going to have Sharp, because he's the captain, and he was reasonably good last season. On the bench, I'm not going to select a keeper at the moment. I'm just going to go with Carter Vickers. And then we're going to have our right back, Kieran Freeman, because he can actually play on both sides. And then McTominay as our ball-winning midfield backup. Coots as our central midfield backup. Carruthers as our attacking midfield backup. Calvert-Lewin as something different up top. And then we will have Ched Evans. So that'll be the team. These players are basically the reserve players. Lafferty is the second choice, but Turnbull's not really going to get in the team unless two players get injured. Same as Vetlesen and Diaby especially. And then keeper, I don't think it's worth having someone on the bench. So let's get into this game against Ipswich. Can we win our first game of the season? I'd be really, really happy if we did. But if you remember from before, we lost to Ipswich 3-1 at home with this tactics, so maybe they're quite good against it, but I'm hoping, here is hoping we can get off to a good start. Yeah, their team is in a 4-4-2. As I say, I don't enjoy that. They've got a couple of good players on loan. Carl Walker-Peters, Reece Nelson, Grant Ward is a pretty good player as well. Downs, I was looking at buying him actually, Flynn Downs, as our ball-winning type player instead of McTominay, but he would cost far too much. Here we go, the game kicks off then, and there is nothing happening. So hopefully we can get a stranglehold on this game early. It would be really disappointing if our formation worked really well last season and in the pre-season friendlies, which obviously you can't take everything from, but then they just went to pot in these games and we didn't get off to a good start. It's looking like we're having quite a lot of the possession, so hopefully there'll be a chance soon. Nope. Well, it's been a very unexciting start to the season. Not bad though, away against Ipswich. I'm just going to say that. We're just going to have a look at this analysis here. Is there anything? Work ball into box. Did we have plenty of shots? Yeah, we might change it to that. Is he on a yellow card? Okay, we'll do that as well. And then we'll start the second half. Let's see if we can actually break through here. They haven't created much. We haven't really created much. There haven't been any highlights. So hopefully we can do something in the second half. There is a chance here. Ortola, he's got good distribution, but he does not find the man up front. But we get the ball back through Lundstrom. He's on a yellow card there, so we might be looking to take him off quite soon. It's a little bit risky leaving the ball-winning midfielder on. Brooks out wide into Evans now in space, and it's one of those chances. Brilliant. They've made a change. They've brought on David McGoldrick. So let's bring on Calvert-Lewin for his debut. We're also going to bring off... Oh, Tominay's not got great match fitness. This is a difficult one. I'm not really sure what to do. I'm gonna oh god, I'm gonna bring on Coots because he's not too bad as a tackler and stuff like that. I'd rather bring him on. First game of the season, I think you've got to have your match fitness about you. We'll play McTominay in a few more games in the under 23s or under 18s or whatever. What we're going to do, we're going to go a bit more direct now. We're going to put it on flexible. I don't want to change it too much. I want to win this game, but I don't want to lose it. First game of the season, I think it's key to not lose. So 0-0. Although it's not been very exciting for me or you, I'm sure, watching one highlight, which was one of those useless ones. It is a solid performance. And, ooh, that was dodgy there. That was probably the best chance of the game. And there it is, full time. We were good. It shows that we were good defensively, but attacking wise, there's still issues. Although they do have 4-4-2, which is just such a good defensive formation. I'm going to say unlucky. We couldn't break through, but we didn't go all out attack, so it's not too surprising we didn't break through. But anyway, that is going to be the end of the episode. I will show you the table. There's not much to see there. Not every team has played. We're in the position we were pretty much in last season, but it's after one game, so who cares? Burton are first as well. That's not going to stay the same. Looking at the schedule, we're going to go to the end of August and the end of the transfer window. So Brighton, that might not be the end of the transfer window. So, oh yes, Brighton is the end of the transfer window. So that'll be the game we come back. That is a very tasty game, actually. So we'll be playing 4 games, including against Oldham at home, which really we want to win. So hopefully we'll have some points on the board, or more points on the board, I mean. Maybe winning these 2 at home and getting a draw. I mean, if that's being very optimistic, but if we can do that and get through this cup game, I'll be very pleased coming back. There might be more transfer news as well in this game against Brighton, so I'll update you on that beforehand. We've got quite a lot of money, so I'll be very surprised if, knowing me as a Football Manager player, I do not spend that money. But until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.